Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Patient Money YouTube channel. Today we have, well, he's not a guest anymore. He's been here before. we have Donald here again today, and today we're going to talk about ATC. We're going to talk about the addition of Charles Hoskinson and what it means, and he has a roadmap that he wants to share with us, and we want to hear his whole side of the story. So Donald is one of the people who have been with ETC for a long time. Some of us are fairly new to ETC, so most of what we know is from reading articles and stuff from way back 2017, 2018 to get a glimpse of what was actually happening. So we just want to hear his side of the story, and there's always something to learn. So, how you doing, Donald?
How are you, Selorm? Thank you very much for inviting me again. I'm very glad to be here.
Sounds good. So, where would you want to start? Okay, so first of all, I think the main thing people want to know is what do you think about Charles Hoskinson joining the board of ETC Cooperative?
My initial reaction that Charles joined the ETC Cooperative was negative. I didn't think it was a good idea. I think that, but there's something bigger. Since the 51% attacks in 2020, when those happened, Charles came to Ethereum Classic and he proposed a treasury to finance development, etc. And he said that he announced that he was going to come back to Ethereum Classic and continue building the node called Mantis, and that was great news. The thing is that one thing is in Ethereum Classic the need for resources, which is great, that more teams, more money, and more marketing and stuff like that. And another thing is to have the right ideas, no? And within the right ideas, you can have cypherpunk ideas, which is the spirit of Ethereum Classic, which is exactly like Bitcoin, or you can have fiat ideas, no? Which is proof of stake and digamos, be closer to how banking works, treasuries and voting mechanisms and stuff like that, like EOS or Tezos, Ethereum, Cardano, etc. So ever since that time in 2020 when he came back and he started building Mantis, I thought it was a very good idea. There was only one point that I really coincided on the side of ideas. On the side of the philosophy, no, and that was when he did a video and he talked about Ethereum Classic simplicity. He mentioned there that Ethereum Classic should not compete with the proof of stake networks, that they should stay with proof of work, that ETC should stay with the proof of work and should continue a simple path of incremental innovation and stuff like that, but not try to compete in a ground, in the layer 2, what I call the layer 2 ground, and to stay in the base layer with a more simple roadmap. Aside from that, ever since I've seen his videos, his opinions, etc. We have clashed on social media, and I think it's wonderful that the team Mantis is there. I think they have a big team, but historically, in like I showed you, Ethereum Classic has 3 teams, no? ETC Labs, and they maintain
ETC Cooperative.
No, ETC Labs. ETC Cooperative is another, and then Mantis is another, no? Mantis with IOHK and Charles. ETC Labs is the one that has CoreGeth, the client, and that has 90% of market share in Ethereum Classic. Then you have the ETC Cooperative that receives donations from Grayscale, and that one is maintaining another client called Hyperledger Besu. And then you have IOHK with Charles, and they started like 8 months ago or 9 months ago with Mantis, and that's great. But historically, there's a small group of what I call ETC army or the cyber in Ethereum Classic. We are a small minority that defend the core principles of Cody's law in Ethereum Classic with proof of work and stuff like that. We were historically allies with ETC Labs, with ETC Cooperative against ETC Labs. No, so now that Mantis is there with Charles, that he doesn't have cypherpunk principles or cypherpunk ideas, and now that he's part of ETC Cooperative, then that balance power doesn't exist anymore. So that's why I thought it was a really bad idea.
Okay, good explanation. So I read an article about a year ago that Ethereum Classic leadership said they did not need Charles Hoskinson to build them out. I think that was when the attack happened. Was there a reason for that? And do you know why they took that route?
Why? The article that you mentioned said that ETC did not need Charles Hoskinson and the team?
Here, one second. I'm gonna try to pull this up real quick here. Okay. So this is August 10th last year, and I think it's right around the time when a 51% attack happened. So I'm just asking since you're
Well, that reaction was not my reaction. That at the time, this is August or September of last year. August. That was a reaction by ETC Labs. ETC Labs is the team that already has 90% share in the client, in the Ethereum Classic client, and they had an initial counter reaction to Charles coming in and competing with them. For me, I don't agree with ETC Labs. I didn't agree at that time. For me, it's fantastic that we have more teams competing inside Ethereum Classic. But again, one thing is resources. Of course, more money is better, and more marketing is better, and more software developers are better. But if you have the wrong ideas, then you're not good for Ethereum Classic. That's very clear for me in my mind.
Awesome.
I would say, let me add. I would say that Ethereum Classic in general doesn't need me, doesn't need Charles, doesn't need Grayscale or Barry Silbert if we're going to have the wrong ideas. Ethereum Classic has a very clear path that I explained here last time. That is that the industry is going to divide into a base layer, a layer 2 for the blockchains. The base layer are going to be proof of work blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Monero, maybe Doge, etc. Those are going to be the highly secure base layer blockchains, and then you're going to have proof of stake on top. And there you're going to have Ethereum 2, because that's another key for Ethereum Classic, that Ethereum, which is proof of work, is going to cancel proof of work, and they're going to move to proof of stake. So Ethereum is going to the second layer that leaves the space free for Ethereum Classic, a cypherpunk proof of work, highly secure Cody's law blockchain to move forward beside Bitcoin in the industry. And that's a very clear path. Whoever doesn't have those ideas, I think is making a mistake. And even if a billionaire is going to invest $1 billion, but with the wrong ideas, like Elon Musk is doing with Bitcoin and Doge, etc., it's not good for ETC.
Awesome. So before you have a presentation, but there are a few comments, there are a few questions here. I just want to bring a few questions up so that you guys know that it's live for real. Somebody here is asking if you still have the same prediction, ETC $1,000 by the end of the year.
Yes, absolutely. My prediction is that Ethereum Classic is going to go to 1,000 in this crypto bull market cycle. That started at the end of last year, and it's very likely going to peak later this year in the next 6 months, say. So that's why on social media I say that Ethereum Classic is going to go to 1,000 this year. This is not investment advice, like you always say in your videos. This is not investment. I'm just saying that that is what I believe is going to happen to the price of Ethereum Classic. Then in 4 years, in the next cycle, because Bitcoin and crypto moves in 4-year cycles, as we have seen since 2012, 2013, then 17, 18, and now 2021. The next one is going to be in 2024. And I think that ETC at that time is going to be around $8,700. And in 2029, which is the other cycle, Bitcoin is going to go to $500,000 or more. And I think that Ethereum Classic, by that time, is going to be established beside Bitcoin as a very strong base layer network. And it's very likely going to be worth $33,000 at the time. I don't see that any fundamentals or any assumptions that I have changed.
All right. So again, guys, clearly his predictions have not changed. And again, like Coca-Cola said in the comments here, it shouldn't always be about price. You know, it gets to a point you research the projects that interest you, and when you understand those projects and you think that those projects have a future, you shouldn't just focus on the month-to-month price action. So, all right, I think that's.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lemos, what you just said is very important. I always say on social media as well, on Twitter, Telegram, Discord, that these projects are to put whatever money you have. It's not the money for next week that you need to live or pay the rent. It's not the money to buy a car in a month. It's not the money to pay for your kids' education this year or next year, or buy a home in the short term. This is money that you can save and put away for a long term. Again, my longer term price targets are 4 years and 8 years, and just wait. And I always say hodl, no? And hodl means to wait years, decades, if not generations, like for long-term family financial planning and for future generation wealth. I think we have seen in Bitcoin and Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic is already worth between $6 and $7 billion. It's not a joke anymore. It's not something small anymore. We're talking here about an enormous potential creation of wealth in the future. So following ETC on a daily basis and trying to get the peak and sell and buy low and all that, I think that is a losing proposition.
All right. So moving on, are you ready to share your screen?
Yes, I just wanted to show you a couple of slides regarding because this was mainly about Charles Hoskinson joining ETC Cooperative. So I wanted to show what is today. Can you see? Oh, can you see my screen?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna share it now. Share screen. So now can you see my screen?
Yes, I see it now.
I wanted to share this to explain a little why I say that Charles, in terms of resources, is great to add more resources to Ethereum Classic, but in terms of ideas, I think he's not yet fine-tuned, I think, or tuned with ETC's philosophy. This is the Ethereum Classic ecosystem, and as you can see, you have the Ethereum Classic ecosystem is worth $7 billion now, approximately. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. And the key coming events, as of now, are going to be the Magneto hard fork this month. This is a fairly straightforward, non-controversial hard fork. It's just to keep up with the Ethereum EVM standard and the Ethereum network standard, and to upgrade to what was named Berlin in Ethereum is named Magneto in Ethereum Classic. So this is straightforward. But then we're debating in Ethereum Classic SHA-3, which is a change in the mining algorithm. We are discussing the treasury that I highlighted here, which is a point of controversy I have with Charles Hoskinson's team, and Bob Somerville of the ETC Cooperative. And then we have, apparently at the end of this year, or at least the first quarter, according to Vitalik Buterin of 2022, Ethereum 1 is going to migrate to Ethereum 2. No, this is critical. This is an external event for Ethereum Classic, but is, in my opinion, a key external event because it's going to open the way for Ethereum Classic to advance from the current position, which is around number 6 in the proof of work blockchains, or number 18 in the ranking in general, to number 2 beside Bitcoin. And here at the top, you see you have the 3 main developer teams with their funding sources. You have Core Geth, they have 90% share. ETC Labs is the firm that they work for, and ETC Labs itself is financed by a Chinese family group, I think, that is called DFG. Then you have here Hyperledger Besu that has more or less 5% share of client of the ETC client, and this team is financed by ETC Cooperative, which in turn is financed by Grayscale. And you have Mantis here, and IOHK, and Charles' firm that finances Mantis for now. As you can see, I put blue and red to show that there are different teams. There's some balance of power there because they compete today. And here I put this little group of cypherpunks that we are the crazy ones on social media. We're not developers, we're not billionaires, we're not miners, we're not exchanges, we're not wallets. But these guys are the ones that I think have it right. They get it. They get it just the way the guys in Bitcoin get it. Bitcoin has a huge BTC army and a huge cypherpunk base of people. So that chain is incredible. How well it's developing and going forward. But in ETC in particular, we have a very small base of cypherpunks. So this is why these problems of a new team and having the wrong ideas are not that simple to solve in ETC, in my opinion. And you have here the rest of the ecosystem. You have the mining pools and the miners, the exchanges, the wallets, and then worldwide users and investors. Now, I think that ETC has millions of investors. They use Binance, Coinbase, etc. to buy ETC, and ETC has a lot of activity on chain that we're going to see in a minute. And so this is, and I think this is a relatively balanced situation now with IOHK or Charles going to ETC Cooperative. This happens, which is now, instead of being 3 distinct teams with different teams, you have basically 2 antagonistic teams. And it makes it much more difficult for the ETC army to constantly argue and to defend the cypherpunk Cody's law principles, no, in this context. And that's why I had a strong reaction when Bob Somerville announced that Charles now is part of the ETC Cooperative, no, at least the board. And what's going to happen with this layout is that the treasury now, the idea of the treasury is that the tax is going to be 20%, and that that money is going to go to 3 teams, which I guess is going to be these 3 teams. The problem is that is going to be between $70 and $100 million a year at current prices. So if ETC is hovering between 50 and 70 in the last few months, and it even went to 180 at one point, this is going to be $100 million, between 70 and $100 million, or even higher if it goes to 1,000 in the short term, which is my prediction. No? Even if it goes to 500, it's going to be a monstrous amount of money. Each of these teams, or a normal team, should cost no more than $2 or $3 million. No? A full team for a blockchain like ETC $2 or $3 million a year, and supposedly we're going to have 3 teams, so that's going to be $9 million a year. And with 3 teams at $9 million a year, that is much less than the $70 to $100 million or even more that the treasury is going to generate. So the debate that we're having in ETC, I think that ETC would be much better without the treasury, but I am willing to compromise if they reduce the tax to something much lower than 20%. And they only send between $2 and $3 million to each of the teams. And I think that this is going to happen in the short term, where it is possible that in the end, the team that runs Core Geth may align with the ETC Cooperative and Charles, and they're all going to be financed by the treasury, and they're going to be happily receiving this money, which is monstrous. And we don't know if they're going to be accountable, if they're going to actually invest the money in development of ETC. In an open source project, it's very difficult to manage those things. So this is the basis of my reaction. We are here now. It's like this, which is already a bad idea, and I think it's going to be like this. A treasury is a very strong centralizing power in a blockchain, in my opinion, and it has to be significantly reduced to be more balanced. Then I wanted to show you. Can you still see my screen?
Yep.
So this is a screen that I use from Mesari Crypto. So these are all the chains, and as you can see, Ethereum Classic is number 18 now, at trading more or less at 50, 49, 80, 50. Then if we see, so this is a very good rank. ETC last year after the attacks was number 70 more or less. So it is incredible without the treasury, without all these things that people say that are extremely necessary, because if not, ETC is going to be a sinking ship or something like that. Without that, it has advanced incredibly. You've monitored ETC, how it has advanced. But if we only see smart contract platforms, you see that Ethereum Classic is number 5. It's extremely well positioned. And if we see only the proof of work blockchains, you see that ETC is number 6. And this is with Ethereum here that didn't migrate. When Ethereum migrates, it's going to go to this group, which is the proof of stake chains, and it's going to be here above Cardano, very likely, because it's worth $250 billion now, and it's going to go to proof of stake. And when that happens, this space is going to be empty, and Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin, they don't have smart contracts. They don't have anything interesting. Bitcoin is the digital gold in the market. That's the big one. Basic blockchain that is just a ledger. So there's no much to add for these blockchains. But ETC, being a proof of work smart contracts platform, it can perfectly move here beside Bitcoin. When Ethereum moves to Ethereum 2.0. So this is the opportunity, and for me, it's critical. The next 12 to 18 months are critical for Ethereum Classic, and I think that to have the right ideas and to not go in other directions is critical. And why do I say that Charles doesn't have the right ideas? I think the point that really pushed me away definitively was this video here in this interview. Can you see this?
Yep. In
this interview here with Lex Friedman, the title is "The Problem with Bitcoin."
Hold on. Before you click it, when you hit share, did you tick the box that said share with audio? Because if you don't tick that, we're not going to get audio. So you can stop the sharing and then share it again and then tick that.
Okay. I'm going to do that.
Okay.
So Stop sharing.
Yep. And then share it again. But this time, when you are about to share, there's a box at the corner that says share with audio, and then we do that. I see some other comments here which are not very ETC related. People want to know why you change your Twitter account and stuff like that. We'll get to those at the end. So please, guys, let's focus on ETC stuff.
Bueno, share with audio.
Yeah, you see the box there?
I see here it says, don't show these tips again, share screen. I don't see it.
It should be at the bottom left. Okay, just give it a shot. Just share it and play it, and let's see if we hear the audio. I'll let you know.
Okay. It's only 10 seconds, I think.
Okay. I can't for the life of me understand what the hell is the point of Bitcoin. When I joined the Bitcoin space way back, I can't for the life of me understand what the hell is Bitcoin. It's way back in the day. It was, hey, we hate her, hey, we like gold a lot. Let's create digital gold. Let's build a payment system. And then it just kind of went all these different directions, and nobody can actually tell you what Bitcoin is for.
Okay. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Okay. Bueno, that was what moved me away completely. I don't think that there's anything in common between Charles' ideas and the cypherpunk ideals of ETC. So unless he changes his philosophy, or he clarifies that he believes that ETC is code is law, is cypherpunk, that he understands perfectly well what Bitcoin is about, like the rest of the world does, and that he understands that it's digital gold, and that ETC is programmable digital gold, and that ETC is going to be a very strong and competitive blockchain, and is already, as you can see in the ranks that I showed you, competitive blockchain as it is, without the need of all these gimmicks around it and money throwing in all directions. And until he says that, I don't think he's going to win me over again. And I don't think, because I know the other cypherpunks in ETC, he's going to win them as well.
Okay. Well, yes, I have actually been following Charles quite recently. Cardano's project. I'm also a huge Cardano investor as well. Cardano's project in Ethiopia, and they're going to start something in Ghana, which happens to be my hometown. So, I was quite excited. I'm like, I want to know what all this is about. And it's possible that his ideals might be changing. But again, unless he himself comes to clarify stuff, I would never know what he fully believes. But, I think he is adapting to the whole ecosystem. So I don't think he's probably the same where he was way back when he was working with Vitalik on Ethereum and till now.
I think in Ethiopia, in Ghana, in Niger, in Nigeria, everybody knows perfectly well what is Bitcoin and what it's for. I think the only person that doesn't know is Charles.
You know what would be interesting if I was able to get Charles on here with you. Probably too small of a YouTuber to pull that off.
For me,
hey, I might give it a shot.
Charles was one of my idols. I interviewed him in 2013. He made so many educational videos before he was a total cypherpunk. I don't know why he's saying these things, why he's against Bitcoin. He has said that ETC is a sinking ship, stuff like that. Even in 2019, he mentioned that proof of work doesn't have a future. Proof of work and Nakamoto consensus as a mechanism doesn't have a future. And that is the key invention of the whole blockchain industry. And he built Cardano, which has a lot of variations that I explained to you last time that go away from the cypherpunk principles. And I think that's amazing. And I think that we need chains like Ethereum 2.0 and Cardano, because those offer user-facing services like scalability that are very important. And one of the key reasons I think that Ethereum Classic is going to be worth $1 trillion, $6 trillion in 2029, is because all these chains, they're not sufficiently secure just by being proof of stake. They have to turn around and they have to anchor their states with Bitcoin and Ethereum Classic. And Ethereum Classic is smart contracts at the base layer. Ethereum, Bitcoin is smart contracts, but not at the base layer, layer 2. So they both compensate and they complement each other extremely well. That's why, I mean, if you want to work on ETC, you have to be an admirer of Bitcoin just because of the marvel that it is, and also because it is extremely complementary to ETC.
So in a more recent interview, I don't have that pulled up yet, but I could probably search for it real quick. I think he was live. Somebody asked why he supported Ethereum Classic, and he gave so many reasons. At the end, he said he wanted ETC to change the name Ethereum Classic and just forget about that connection to Ethereum altogether. What do you think about that?
I think that's a trivial thing. That's totally unnecessary.
So
if
just
it happens, great, but it's not important.
Okay.
Again, whether Ethereum Classic has the name Ethereum Classic, whether Charles is there, whether I am here or I leave and he leaves and Barry Silbert leaves and Grayscale sells the 12 million ETC, ETC doesn't care about that. ETC is a cypherpunk project. It is Nakamoto consensus with smart contracts. It's the invention by Vitalik, and Vitalik, he went crazy, and he's going to proof of stake. But that is the original network. Ethereum Classic is the original chain, the mainnet. It has never been tampered with. It has never been they haven't done the bailout, and it's clean, and it still preserved the Cody's law philosophy, and that is what is going to be worth trillions at the base layer in the future for Ethereum Classic specifically. Of course, Cardano has the potential of being worth trillions also, and Ethereum 2.0 as well, by being these layer 2 systems, proof of stake, highly performant, highly scalable, and then anchoring with the base layer. It's not that I'm saying, oh, one dies and the other lives. No. Cardano is amazing, and Ethereum 2.0 as well. Cardano has the base chain that it's more or less like a beacon chain that is already operating. Then they're going to add the programming language and smart contracts. Then they're going to add a treasury, which is already centralizing. Proof of stake is already centralizing, but the treasury is even more centralizing. And then they're going to add the governance system, which is even more centralizing. But it is impossible not to be centralizing when you are aiming to provide scalability. That's why that for them it's critical to turn around and to anchor on the base layer, because that's going to make them much more secure than if they stay like this. This is my opinion. I know that not many people share it, and of course Charles doesn't share it and Vitalik doesn't share it, but it is going to happen regardless of what I think. It's going to happen because it's an unavoidable physical reality. It's something that it's very unlikely that it's not going to happen, or they're going to be just centralized and not very useful.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. This video is about 2.5 minutes long. I'll pause it in between so that YouTube doesn't take it down. This is, I think, about 5 months ago. Somebody asked Charles on one of his long lives about ETC, and this is what he had to say. So it could give us an insight as to where he is today. So I'm going to play it.
Why do you support Ethereum Classic? Well, because someone has to. Despite what the Ethereum community has to say about me, the books and the founders and all these other things about how horrible of a human being I am and all this stuff, at the end of the day, we raised money. And we raised money with 2 promises, and we didn't make it clear. There was a Coda's Law component, and there was a World Computer component. Split, somebody had to make sure that the Coda's Law had proper support. and that those people got a fair shake because they weren't going to be taken care of by the Ethereum Foundation. So I put my money where my mouth was, and I came in and helped them out, got them to a certain point. Other people came and got them to a certain point and then left. 4 years later, come back, and ecosystem's not really in good hands. And so we're making a proposal to do something different, and we'll see what happens. And the community will decide one way or the other. And maybe they want to do something, maybe they don't want to do something, and they'll be given a fair choice. If they want to do something, then we get to go explore code is law. The only other cryptocurrency that can do that is Bitcoin, and they're not going to do that. So that's really cool. And if we win the proposal, we're going to hire a full-time philosopher to work just alongside the development team and actually write a whole corpus of knowledge about this very idea. This is totally different from anything we're doing with Cardano or other projects. It's exploring a very philosophical viewpoint about how cryptocurrencies ought to work. And we can innovate inside that space. And I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. Who knows what the value and size of that is going to be, if it's small or large, or the market appetite. But that's the point of being an innovator, and that's the point of creating things and exploring things and building a community, a distinct community that does things differently. And I'd like to change the name. If we go to a new standard, it makes no sense to be called Ethereum Classic. Throw all that past and toxicity away. Go do something novel and new and be your own man. What do you think about the bill to remove the electoral?
Okay, all right. So that's it for that. I mean, it sounds like he made quite a 360 on Bitcoin. It sounds like he now really understands Bitcoin, and he's not saying that he doesn't understand it anymore. I mean, I just got that from listening to it again.
Those 2 minutes that he just showed me, I had heard to them, and it's hot air about Ethereum Classic. He always has these things that go around and around and around, mixing things, and I don't understand them. Changing the name, like I told you, it's a trivial thing. And hiring a philosopher, for me is like saying, yes, I am going to hire a blogger to write what I tell him to write. But I don't understand what is the purpose of hiring a philosopher. Bitcoin doesn't have philosophers. People are all contributing, and the idea emerges out of the cypherpunk principles. In any case, people like Wei Dai, Nick Szabo, Hal Finney, Satoshi Nakamoto, they have already written the philosophy of ETC. It's not necessary to hire a philosophy to do what the boss tells him to write. What if the philosopher writes, I think that proof of stake is bad and proof of work is good? He's going to be fired or something. So all that is hot air, more hot air, I would say. You before you said something about somebody asked a question about me on Twitter or something.
Right. They said you changed your Twitter again. They wanted to know what your new Twitter account was.
My new Twitter account is ETC33K.
Okay.
Because a lot of people ask me, do you still think that it's going up now that Charles is here?
Okay.
Yes.
So at ETC33K. Okay.
Yes, at ETC33K.
Okay. Someone had also asked me on Twitter, several times if I was being sponsored in a way to promote ETC. The answer is no, a big no. Okay. I like a great underdog story. Okay. I am an underdog story myself. So when I see an opportunity where it's something that has recovered from the worst and people don't give it the benefit of the doubt and still keep it down. So I see ETC as a great opportunity. And, every now and then there are some coins that you adopt, and it's just one of the coins that I want to cover. So nobody's paying me anything to make videos or talk about ETC. In my emails, however, I have been approached by about 7 different crypto projects that some of them want me to sign no compete, whatever, and just work for them. And I have declined all of them because I want my freedom. I want to be able to either not make videos at all or make videos on any coin that I want. And if a coin is not going the way I want it to go, I could drop it whenever. So again, I'm not being paid.
It's very difficult to stay independent. Also, I disclose that I'm not being paid by anyone. I'm just a volunteer. All the cypherpunks that I know, the true cypherpunks in ETC, are pure volunteers.
All right. So, any final thoughts? Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do well to subscribe, like and subscribe. I'm gonna try and get the boss of ETC Cooperative on here. Is it Bob Somerville? I am going to try and do that. And if you haven't followed me on Twitter, please do that as well. Because if I try to reach someone and I don't hear back from them, maybe I'll just tweet at them. And if you guys retweet it, enough, you might see it. And maybe we might be able to get Charles on here as well too. Charles and Donald.
Yeah. Now that I did this interview when we spoke about Charles and Bob, I think it's of course would be excellent that you invite them so that they also tell their side of the story. I am only reading the situation from outside. I don't know what are their emails or internal talks and what they're planning. Maybe they're planning something fantastic that I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Let me show you one more time the screen with 2 slides very fast.
Okay.
To show this thing of the ETC opportunity, without the treasury, without or this sinking ship, supposedly. Yesterday, the transactions in Bitcoin, total transactions in the Bitcoin blockchain were 187,000.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. Okay, go ahead.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's on now.
Here you see there that Bitcoin transactions are 100,000 yesterday. Yes, you see that?
Yep, 187,000.
Ethereum, which is an incredible success, 1,139,000 transactions. Dogecoin, less than 20,000 transactions. Litecoin, that's been here since 2012, I think, 117,000 transactions. Bitcoin Cash, 73,000 transactions, and Ethereum Classic, 62,000. Ethereum Classic has more or less 1/3 the amount of transactions than Bitcoin, more than Doge, and half of Litecoin, and practically the same as Bitcoin Cash, depending on the day. Some days it's higher, some days it's lower, and it's more or less 1/18th, or Ethereum is 18 times more than Ethereum Classic, which is normal because Ethereum has historically been between 20 and 30 times bigger in all metrics. So this is an indication of, for me, success of ETC, and for all the things that I said before, I think it's going to increase and be number 2 at the base layer after Bitcoin. Then I wanted to share this very quickly. The cypherpunks in the ETC army that I call. I think this should be the business development that we aim for and try to convince everybody to pursue, based on the vision that I explained to you for Ethereum Classic. From individuals to layer 2 blockchains to central banks, supranational organizations, multinational corporations, etc. They should use Ethereum Classic in the future for highly secure transfers and highly secure programs and contracts. And this is the roadmap that I propose for Ethereum Classic that is consistent with the same vision. SHA-3, Fly Client. Fly Client is a technology so that it can interoperate with other blockchains easily. Then account versioning is a way of solving backward compatibility. That is a system that would eliminate the risk that when you do a hard fork like Magneto, that some smart contracts of the past, of 3 or 4 years ago, don't work anymore. So it guarantees that smart contracts, even if 100 years pass by, they still work. Then permanently fix the gas limit to 8 million gas per block. This is to reduce bloat, which is a problem that Ethereum had. ETC doesn't have yet, but it would have if we don't limit the block size. and then limited in time and lower miner tax treasury. This is the key for me. If not, I am not going to support a treasury, and I don't think that the rest of the cypherpunks in ETC will either. And finally, eventually eliminating checkpointing and mess, which is what is underpinning now Ethereum Classic. Once Ethereum Classic grows to be a $1 trillion chain, it's not necessary to continue having mess and checkpointing. So that was my final comment.
Sure. I thought your slide was done. I didn't know you still had more. I wouldn't have tried to cut it off. Okay.
Excuse me? Okay.
I thought your slide was done earlier. That's why I was trying to wrap it up. I didn't know you still had more stuff. So let me know if you want to say anything else.
If the viewers want me to talk about something else or show something else.
I have a question. While you're still on here, and I saw SHA-3, so it's reminded me of some stuff. So while I was building my mining rig, I kind of formed a small mining community, right? And a bunch of us are planning to switch. Well, some have already switched their mining rigs over to ETC. I'll be switching mine over next week. I'm currently mining Ethereum, but the way the pool I'm mining with, I'm waiting for my next payout before I switch, so I don't have any Ethereum left on that pool, right? But we were all very excited, but then some of the community is now a little bit worried because the excitement for ETC died a little bit when we realized that SHA-3 will most likely be ASIC. It's not going to be something that you can mine with a GPU. But I mean, for me, the security feature makes up for all that. So what do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
If I remember correctly, last time I spoke about SHA-3, that is a general standard that all the international bodies that approve mining algorithms approve. So it would make ETC palatable and compatible with banking systems, multinational systems, government systems, central banking systems, etc. Something that the current algorithm is not. Now, the current algorithm is just a made-up algorithm that was made to stop ASICs from coming to ETC or Ethereum at the time, and it was also made with the goal of promoting the migration to proof of stake, which was Vitalik Buterin's original goal. Those ETC doesn't have those goals anymore, so it doesn't have to digamos, artificially protect or have a bias towards GPU mining. What I recommend to miners like you is you must have a life cycle for your machine, no? And at some point, the machine, you're going to have to replace it because new machines are going to be in the market, more competitive, etc. If at the time ETC already migrated to SHA-3, then I would just buy an ASIC if they're available in the market, or a strong CPU to mine ETC at the time. But unfortunately, ETC has to continue with this SHA-3 roadmap because Ethereum Classic is not about a community of GPU miners and their interest, and how do we do to keep the little guy who's mining from their home here in North America or Europe. ETC is just like Bitcoin. ETC needs to have in the future, to support trillions of dollars, a mining base, a professionalized mining base in many places and regions in the world where the sources of electricity are the cheapest, and the most professional miners have to be directing their ASICs or machines or whatever is the best machine suitable at the time to ETC to make it as secure as possible. I would say, like you said, if it's for security, it's worth the trade-off. And it is for security. I think Bitcoin is unbeatable. And not only that, but in the case of Ethereum, even with this strategy, ASICs are already built for ETH hash, and they can perfectly be built for ETC hash as well. So the goals are not met anyway. But the core of Ethereum Classic is the sound money, property, and agreements, no, in the form of smart contracts, and those have to work seamlessly globally. And the only way of achieving that goal on a global scale with thousands of nodes operating in the network is to have the most competitive and clean mining algorithm. So unfortunately, this means that GPUs are not going to be part of the equation in the future. If SHA-3 goes through, no, it's not something that I decided. I think ETC has to do it. But of the teams that I showed before, for example, Coregeth is not convinced yet. They have the philosophy that no, why not? We have to protect the little GPU miner. It's better to have many GPU miners than a few ASIC miners, etc. I think that is a false premise, and it goes against natural economic evolution and power law.
Good explanation. Yes, but it's still a sad reality for some of us who were looking to just go full on ETC after ETH 2.0, and
I think one thing that I did agree to lately is that because all these machines are going to be there, maybe they're not going to be amortized, and maybe ASICs are not going to be ready yet. I think it's maybe good, because when the SHA-3 idea started was in 2019. We didn't know when Ethereum was going to migrate, so it's not coordinated with the migration of Ethereum. It's just something that ETC needs by itself, independent of that migration. But if Ethereum is going to migrate in 6 months or 12 months, I said, okay, if this situation exists, for example, that many miners have their new machine and they're going to be orphaned, well, maybe ETC could stay. Maybe ETC could stay with ETC hash until after the Ethereum 1 migration to Ethereum 2. So those miners come to ETC and then do the migration to SHA-3. So it's something that doesn't have to happen in the next 6 months, but it has to happen eventually. And what I recommend to all GPU miners is to manage their budgets and their amortization cycle of the machines. And when the time comes, migrate to ASIC miners and to point it to a mining pool when they develop.
I see. Great advice. So if you really want to keep up, and you are sure that SHA-3 is going to be ASIC, you might want to switch over while GPUs are still while people are still ready to pay a big buck. But then, of course, we don't know the exact timeline for when SHA-3 will be launched. So, hey, you never know. The day it gets launched, I'll be on eBay selling all my GPUs that night. Okay. So, guys, I just realized that I didn't add any descriptions to the video, so I just added Donald's Twitter, a link to his Twitter account. I'm going to add a link to his YouTube as well. He's the owner of Etherplan YouTube, and he interviews people there and talks about different things there at length. So you can go and check him out. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? Oh yeah, my sloth friend here. He's been with us for a while. He says that the difficulty of mining ETC sucks. It does. From people who mine it does suck, but when the ETC jumps and all the ETC that you've mined before are now gold, it's so yeah, I think the difficulty was reduced recently. Am I wrong? Sloth, let me know. I thought it was reduced a few weeks ago.
I see that the hash rate is 22 terahashes per second, so it's pretty good, going up.
All right. Let's see. What other comments do we have? He says ASICs are not intended for home mining. Yeah, they can be a little pricey. They can be a little on the pricey end. So that's where the struggle comes. All right. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up? I saw a tweet yesterday, which was very intriguing. Somebody said, our kids will not be buying Bitcoin; they will be earning it, because at their time, it's like everybody, all the Bitcoin that be mined, everybody will be holding on to whatever Bitcoin they have. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was Dan Held, and again, Bitcoin has so many hundreds and thousands of cypherpunks that just get it, and they understand this whole movement. They understand what the whole thing is about. It's about trust minimization, not innovation. Innovation, of course, is important, but the first priority is trust minimization, decentralization. Nakamoto consensus is the only consensus mechanism that helps a network like ETC or BTC to reach consensus, thousands of nodes on a global scale, and to replicate 100% of the database in all the nodes, not to fragment it and shard it and do side chains and stuff like that. No, everything is, to be secure, it has to be fully replicated everywhere. So bueno, yeah, all these guys, they just get it. And like the ETC army also gets it. This is why we are pushing ETC forward in the right direction.
All right. So any final comments? Any final thoughts?
For me, you're asking me?
Yes. Oh, we have a question. We have a question here. Why does Coinbase require 10 block confirmation before validating mined ETC? I do not have an answer for you. Do you have an answer, Donald?
Yes, but this is because when it was attacked last year, Coin put, I think, 40,000 confirmations. But the only way to defend the receiver of ETC when 51% attack.
Your audio is cutting off a little bit. So can you please repeat that one more time?
Oh,
I think you froze up. Okay, I think he froze up, but I think he said it was because of the attack that happened last year. They want to make sure that it's not one of those bounce checks. So okay, are you back, Donald?
Oh.
No, I think you froze up again. Yes, hello. Okay, so I think we got a gist of it. It was because of the attack. Okay, it was because of the attack. They don't want anybody to pull off an attack again. So this is a security feature on Coinbase, I believe. Donald is frozen. He's losing audio. I was gonna let him give us his final wrap up, but I don't know if that's happening. Well, guys, if you are new here, please do want to like and subscribe. We'll get more interviews like this going, and hopefully more regular. So we'll try that. Oh, there's another Donald. Let's see. Let's remove the other one.
I'm back.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me finish. So basically, Coinbase was 40,000, and now that ETC is very difficult to attack because it has MES and ETC hash, which was the changes that the core get team did that I praise that they did, because they really protected ETC. It's not necessary to have 40,000 or even 10,000. I think they're just very conservative, and they're going to lower it in the near future, I'm sure. I had my final comment.
Okay, go ahead.
It's very important when you talk to Bob and Charles to make this distinction, because I think that Bob and Charles are going to say, oh, but ETC needs money. This is why we need the treasury with a high tax and to receive money perpetually. And then we decide to who to send this money. I think that is very risky. It lends itself for corruption, and it's centralizing, no? And they're always going to talk about, but resources. And of course, again, you have to separate resources. Yes, they are good. Bad ideas, they're bad. So resources, in exchange for bad ideas, I prefer not to have them and go away. So that's important to distinguish. If somebody is telling you money is good, that is obvious. The thing is, money is good, but you need to have the right ideas for ETC. That's what's going to maximize value in the future, not the wrong ideas.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, it was great having you on, and we do always value your opinion. So you know, as things develop, maybe as the Magneto update takes place, maybe SHA-3, we might have you on again, and we'll talk about you know, the developments.
Excellent.
Right.
Thank you very much, Celorm.
Okay, thank you all for being here, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And also my Twitter is I think it's at Moon Tiger Street. Okay, but if you search Patient Money, you might find it as well. And I put links to Donald's Twitter and myself in down below. So thank you all for being here, and I'll see you all on the next live. Peace.
Thank you. Bye-bye.